Welcome to today's deep dive. We've got a really massive stack of research today.
Yeah, pulling from some pretty comprehensive sources on, economics, operations, and strategic leadership.
Exactly. And for you listening, you are probably already familiar with the Pareto Principle, or, well, I guess the 80-20 rule.
Right, the 80-20 rule. But looking at the materials today, our mission is to sort of explore how deeply embedded this concept actually is.
And the hidden mechanics of why your effort and your results are rarely equal.
It's a stark reminder from our research stack that the universe simply doesn't reward linear effort.
It really doesn't. And I think we can skip past the usual introductory stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the story of Vilfredo Pareto in the 19th century.
Right, noticing that 20% of the population owned 80% of Italy's land.
And then seeing that same exact ratio with the pea pods in his garden.
Which is just so weird to me.
Yeah.
But what the research really digs into is the underlying math.
Because Pareto was observing what we now call a power law distribution.
Exactly. It's asymmetric allocation of resources. And one of the biggest misconceptions we found in the stack is that the numbers have to sum to exactly 100.
Right, they really don't. You might be looking at a 7-30 split or a 90-10 split in a given system.
And it's also fractal, which is a detail that often gets overlooked.
Yes, meaning you can calculate the top 20% and then find a top 20% hiding inside that initial group.
So say you have 100 sales reps.
Okay, and 20 of them bring in 80% of your revenue, if you run the math again on that top tier.
Just 4 of those reps might be responsible for 64% of the total company revenue.
The imbalance scales infinitely. It's fascinating.
It's wild to think this started as an agricultural observation, honestly.
But looking at the sources, it was Dr. Joseph M. Juran in 1941 who actually weaponized the math for modern industry.
Right. He coined the phrase the vital few and the useful many.
To completely overhaul manufacturing quality control, proving you could drastically reduce defects by targeting a tiny fraction of the root causes.
And the sources provide some fantastic modern equivalents of Juran's work.
Take Microsoft, for example. They found that fixing just the top 20% of their most reported software bugs entirely eliminated 80% of related system crashes.
That is massive. Or look at physical logistics. We read about a mid-sized electrical supply distributor that implemented ABC analysis.
That's the method where they systematically categorize their inventory into A for vital, B for standard, and C for trivial.
Right. And by isolating that A category, their top 20% of high turnover inventory.
And moving those specific items into high-speed picking zones.
They saved $48,000 annually just on warehouse replenishment costs alone.
It's incredible. Applying this to personal workflow requires a serious shift in how you allocate your time, though.
Absolutely. Consider an 80-20 to-do list.
If you write down 10 tasks for the day, the math suggests just 2 of them will yield the vast majority of your long-term impact.
Which completely shifts how you plan a morning. Instead of optimizing to cross off 8 easy tasks to feel productive,
you have to force yourself to tackle the 2 hardest ones first.
Though I admit, human nature usually dictates spending 80% of my time just organizing my desk.
Just so you can eventually do the 20% of the work that actually matters.
Exactly.
It requires a lot of discipline to avoid that exact trap. The research also ties this directly into rapid skill acquisition.
Specifically, highlighting Josh Kaufman's 20-hour rule.
If you're learning something complex, you deconstruct the skill and practice just the vital few elements.
Language learning is the perfect example of that. Memorizing just the 1,000 most common words in a new language gives you about 80% of the vocabulary required for daily conversation.
You don't need to memorize the entire dictionary to be functional.
But we do need to address the hidden dangers of over-applying this law.
Yes, if you ruthlessly optimize for just the top 20%, you inevitably create dangerous single points of failure in your systems.
Think about global supply chains.
If 80% of your raw materials come from a highly concentrated 20% of your suppliers, a single disruption puts you in an immediate catastrophic crisis.
Hyper-efficiency often breeds extreme fragility.
And our sources also bring up the long tail theory as a necessary counterweight to Pareto.
The long tail essentially argues that in the digital age, the useful many actually hold massive economic value.
Because the internet destroyed physical shelf space limits.
Companies like Amazon make astronomical profits selling millions of rare niche items rather than just relying on the top 20% blockbuster hits.
You don't always have to rely solely on the most popular items if your distribution costs are basically zero.
It's all about contextual application. The vital few drive the core engine.
But the long tail can provide structural resilience and unexpected value.
Right. It's about balancing that hyper-efficiency with resilience. But the ultimate takeaway for you today is to stop defaulting to linear effort. Find your leverage points, identify your vital few, and allocate your resources where the math actually supports the outcome.
And as a final thought to mull over, consider how this is scaling right now.
With the rise of big data,
Exactly. Artificial intelligence is actively being deployed to find the hidden vital 20% in wildly complex areas, from granular employee retention metrics to obscure cybersecurity threats.
it's everywhere.
As technology pushes us toward a world of perfect algorithmic optimization and near-zero transaction costs, will the 80-20 rule eventually predict and manage our choices before we even realize we've made them?